Good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Rahul.
Uh, thank
Hello.
you, everyone, for joining. And I want to welcome you for this. Uh, and I hope that you all are doing good and healthy and sound. First, I will tell you something about myself. My name is Rahul. I have like around 18 years of experience in the industry. And from around 2010-11, I started working with Revit as 3D modeling software. But with the development of 3D modeling
Re-
and
Revit and Ecosim.
not exactly EcoSim, it was Bentley 3D structure.
Yes, the
Yeah,
product is same, just they have changed the name.
yeah. So with the development till then and now, I have learned a lot in this field in the field of BIM. Uh, and like this was BIM India Group was Shobit and my idea to share the knowledge what we gain to give back. So we are trying to give back to the industry which we have learned and to the people who are interested. So what I will take you through this session, like for 30 minutes, I will show you what the beam is and something about that. And then we will keep some time for questions. So what you can do during the during this discussion, if you get any question, you just type down in the chat section and we will try to answer it after that.
Okay, okay,
Right?
Okay, copy.
okay.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Dinesh.
So this is our agenda for today. What we will discuss today. It's first a small introduction about BIM, why we need BIM, some BIM standards I will discuss about, then the benefits and the requirements, resource requirements for BIM, and then there when you go to new technology or try to start new thing, there can be some risk as well. So we will discuss about the risk, and then we'll show you a brief about the softwares which are there. Right. So still some participants are coming. Let's wait for them for 5 minutes before start, and then we can start.
Okay, Rahul. Because now I can see that more people are joining. So let's
Yeah,
wait for 5 minutes, 5 more minutes.
yeah. Let's wait for 5 minutes, and then we will start.
So as the name is Open BIM Talk, so it is open, it is free, and to share our knowledge. And also we want that if you want to share your experience or your any skill with us, so you can also contact us, and then we can have a next session or any section session with you, so that everybody can get advantage of your experience.
Sandeep Datta, you want to say anything?
No, sir, actually the your voice is not clear. Now it is clear. So thank you.
Okay. I think we should start now. Let people join in between because this is a free session Zoom. It will last for 40 minutes only. So let's start, just don't waste time.
Okay, we can start.
Okay, so let's just brief introduction about BIM. In some of you have already joined last session where we explained uh, what BIM is, how it developed, how we reached to this level, where we started. Right. So we will not discuss this again. I will tell you what BIM is actually. It's a normal term BIM. Everybody must be aware of it. It is called Building Information Modeling, and now because there are international standard as well, so this management word is also added. So it is Building Information Modeling or management, right? Once this building information from it turns from capex mode to opex mode, then it becomes a management, right? We will explain you that later on. So normally in this term, building information modeling, building is sometimes confused as a noun, but it is actually a verb, right? If you're talking about the English, so building is like creating something. So it's creating a database. Building information modeling is creating a database, right? So by definition, if you go, we'll say building in BIM is a collaborative process of creating single source of information for any construction project throughout the life cycle of the project, right? So when I excuse me, when I say collaborative process, that means that every stakeholder of the related, which is related to the project, either it is a facade fabricator or the subcontractor, they are all interrelated with the information. The information which they are getting is the same information. It's not that somebody is working on the old information and some other stakeholder is working on the other information. So both are everybody is working on the same information so that chances of errors are less. And when we say creating a single source means all the information, all the data which is related to the project, which is shared only on one location, so that everybody has access of it and everybody can have the same information at the same time, right? Then when I talk about the stages, so according to RIBA, Royal Institute of British Architects, in the capex stage, there are 8 stages. Zero, which is strategic definition, where client comes with an idea, right? So that is stage 0. Then these are the different stages. In coming futures, we will be discussing in detail about these stages. So for now, let's keep it till there that there are these 8 stages. First is strategic definition. Second is the preparation and brief, concept design, spatial coordination, technical design, manufacturing and construction, handover, and use. These stages are widely used throughout the BIM. When we discuss about anything, these are the stages which are being referred. So next is this is from one of the BIM standard, PAS 1192, part 2. This is the whole life cycle of the BIM. Today, if you can follow my mouse pointer, we will discuss about this thing in the BIM, right? So these are the same stages which were defined there. Stage 0 was added after that, so stage 0 is not defined there. So basic concept goes like this. So when you start a project, you don't have much information or actually no information. So when you start brief, then some information start to come. So that's how information built up start. As we start to go to new stages, this information start to increase, right? And the at the end of stage 6 handover, when this project is complete and you hand over to its owner or the client, then the information which we have generated from zero to till the handover, that information goes to the client or the owner or to the facility management. Then they use that information for next stages, for operations and for maintenance, these things. So once from stage 0 to stage 6 to handover, this is the capex mode, capital expenditures, right? Where we invest money, right? And after that there is opex mode. After handover, when this structure comes to operation, it is the opex mode, operational expenditures, right? So operation expenditures means maintenance, maintaining the building, operation costs, etc., right? So this is throughout this complete life cycle of the any asset. So this information start to increase and keep increasing, keep adding. Some things are removed, some things are changed. So this is how the information work. And for information to be working, there should be a single source, which is in BIM terms, which is called a single source of truth, which is a common data environment, we call it, where every stakeholder has an access of it and everyone can have the information from there. When we talk about BIM, so this is a very nice picture I've seen many times. Because like an iceberg, you cannot identify the size of an iceberg by seeing what part is outside the water, right? You can never identify that. The same thing goes with the BIM as well, right? So it has two parts, this picture. If one is the deliverables and one is the requirements. So if you see on the left side, if somebody is doing 3D visualization, he has coordinated drawings and he is calculating the quantities from there, that doesn't mean he's doing completely BIM, right? BIM can help you to deliver other things as well, which are hidden, like because you already made the model, right? You already put their information, you already put their materials, and all information are there. Then you can use that model for thermal analysis, lighting analysis, structural analysis, and more other things which is required for an asset to work well. So the use of BIM is there are no need of creating double information for the same thing. We are creating information to be used for different things. And on the right side, if you see, it discusses the BIM requirements. So if someone says that I have the software, I've given the training, and I have the hardware, it doesn't mean you are capable of doing BIM, because for doing BIMs, you need to do other things as well. Like you need to create standards. There should be company standard. There should be workflows. There should be change resistance, role mutation, collaboration, and you need to create contracts as well, right? So these are the hidden things which we need to also keep in mind while using term BIM or while companies start to implement BIM into the companies. So, sorry, why we need BIM actually? In my opinion, after CAD was introduced to AEC industry, the BIM is the largest changes we have seen, biggest changes, biggest leap you can say we have seen, and it has a lot of potential. Some of the benefits I will highlight it, which is like one big benefit of it is like time saving on the changes at the time of construction. What does it mean? Because before actually building an asset, on the site, we are simulating the same thing into the digital environment, right? Where with coordination with each other, we are doing this clash detection, and if due to anything, if there are changes, we are anticipating those changes already before actually constructing it on the site. So we can change, we can anticipate that, and we can change it, and those changes can be incorporated very easily. However, in the traditional construction, what happens when you doing something on the site and you find out find out a problem, then it goes back to the designer, they make the changes, and then it comes back to, there is waste of time also, waste of money as well, right? Because the contractor will be idle, he will not be having any job to do. So maybe the, and due to changes, there could be some cost effect as well. So those we can reduce with them. Effective planning of resources. Right. This 3D, with the 3D, if you include time as well, right? With the planning can also be included with the with 3D. So which is called 4D. So with 4D, you can, for the resources, you can better plan it. You know it when which material is required. So it can be arranged before time. How much, like how much resources, manpower is required at any time. You can calculate with the planning. So it will be a better resource planning with that. So that can be done with BIM, and we are modeling everything accurate to the sizes. So we can more accurately calculate cost and time about it. And collaboration is between the stakeholders are very good with the BIM, which was never happening in past, right? And because every information is there, we are creating an information database. So those database is very useful after construction is completed. For the asset management, it will be very useful. That data doesn't end up after the project is completed. This is used in the operation mode as well. So it is, if you normally see in the traditional project, what happens when at the time of handover, if a project is big, there are like trucks of files, manuals, and uh, drawings, and lot more paperwork which goes to handover. And these asset management companies take years to take the useful data from those big manuals and to feed into the system to be a useful system. So that time is also saved because we already creating a asset database base as well, and that is digitally transferred to the facility management company or the asset management company. So they can better utilize that information. What's coming in the near future for the for BIM? So if because there are new technologies coming like augmented reality and artificial intelligence, with that that can also be used, and a lot of companies are already like, trying to achieve that. The example is this digital twin. Digital twin is nothing just an 3D model, but it is connected with the actual asset there with the help of sensors. So it collects the data from the asset, and with artificial intelligence, it shows the maintenance requirement or anything else which is required. So that is the I mean the brief concept of digital twin. You can read about digital twin on internet a lot. For now, actually, I didn't hear much of the companies doing it, but that's the future. It is coming. The standards, actually in India, there is, I think there is no BIM standard there, but UK level 2 BIM standards are widely used there as well. So very famous standards are BS 1192, PAS 1192, Part 2, 3. PAS is publicly available specification. That's why they are called PAS, and they are free. You can download it from the from internet, and I think everybody should read it. It's good. So these three are the main while from stage 0 to stage 7, stage 6. These three standards, PAS 1192, Part 2, Part 3, and BS 1192. They are used a lot, and at the time of handover, because there is a it is called COBE, the construction asset information exchange. It is a schema of construction asset information exchange which is required. These things we will discuss on our future webinars. This needs a completely one seminar to discuss about webinar to discuss about it. It's a long subject. So and these 1192 Part 4, it is used for that asset collaboration. Then there is 5 as well, and I guess there is 6 as well for cyber security and these things. We will discuss more about those as well. But widely used is 1192 Part 2 and Part 3. And now, because those standards, PAS standards were made in UK, it was for UK only, but they were good. So everybody was adopting it. And some of the countries like Singapore have their own BIM standards. Australia and New Zealand have their own BIM standards. USA has their own BIM standards. So what's happening for the project of international projects? There are some differences in the standards. So now for BIM also we are creating an international standards. So for now there are 2 parts are already published: ISO 196501 and 2. Part 1, actually the basic concept, if you see in the figure on the right side, the concept and principles are taken from BS 1192, PAS 1192 Part 2, and Part 3. Also main clauses are from there. So actually it is a collaboration of PAS, and we created it a new standards which are international standards, and it will be used internationally so that everybody will be on the same page. If we are talking about some definition or something, it should be same. That's why the this international standards ISO 19650 Part 1 and Part 2 has been created. Some benefits of using BIM, like coordination and collaboration is very good. Conflict detection, risk mitigation. Risks are in construction. There are always risk of changes, risk of accidents. With BIM, you can reduce them, right? So if everything is coordinated, then there will be less changes or maybe no changes. And with the planning, we can also reduce the risk of accidents as well. High level of customization and flexibility is there, because we are creating everything before actually it is constructed on site. So there are possibility of changes and flexibilities are there to change anything. We can get optimized schedules and cost, easy maintenance of building life cycle, because every information which is required to maintain something, it is already there. So it will be a easy process, right? So some more benefits we can see here as well. For any project, what could be the benefits? Like better data quality, coordinated approach, visual simulation, prefabrication, virtual model. Like you can see what's going to happen there. So things are visualized, things are there to discuss before actually it is built. So it saves a lot of time, lot of cost, and it's a collaborative process. And there are less change orders and better quality, right? And also the data which is required for operations, it has a structured, it has better information. So these are some benefits of PIM also. And this slides I've taken it from some Macro Hill Construction. They have published this due to different different benefits. What are the how much stakeholder is getting benefit from that? Like if you see, if there are reduced conflict and changes during construction, eco industry, AEC industry has like 55% more benefits. Contractors are 65%. They agree that they will benefit with that, and owners 47%. That's how you can see for different benefits how it is affecting the different stakeholders. And now the BIM implementation resource requirement. So like if we want to start, like if we say we want to start BIM, it's not like you get the software, you get the training, and you get the hardware and stuff, right? So to start implementation, we need to have a proper implementation plan, right? Step-by-step implementation approaches. What we need to do, like first we need to get the hardware, then the software, the trainings, standards, software standards. These things we need to plan how we are going to do. Second thing, we need to, like what I said in the implementation plan, we need to find out hardware and software requirements, because in the market today there are a lot of softwares which are doing which are capable of them. So according to your work requirement, according to your type requirement, what suits your company good, or what suits your group good, you need to identify that softwares, and then according to that, what are the hardware requirements that you need to identify. Then the then the BIM standards, organization standards. Other than these BIM standards, there should be some industry standards as well. I mean the organization standards, their view templates, their way of showing like how the drawing should look like. These are also standards which is required. You need to prepare as well before starting. So some organization standards, way of working, need to write these documents. Like one of the document is a BIM execution plan. So it should also these things are also required to implement BIM. Then this skill development training. So anybody, if he wants to create a team, so he will have to arrange for training for them, right? And also the most important part is the client education for BIM. If my client is not educated about BIM, if he doesn't know about the BIM, we cannot do BIM. There is no use of BIM as well. All right. So also that is also an important part. We need to educate our client as well for the BIM. Next is this risk involved. Always when you do something new, there are always risks involved in this. All right. So first risk is the client acceptance. That's what I discussed in the last slide. If your client is not aware of BIM, and he doesn't want on his project, then there is no use of actual BIM. But I have seen a lot of farms, like they do BIM, but they do BIM for their own practice and for their own sake, that we are using BIM and we are capable of it. Those are called standalone BIM because nobody else is using it. But and this is one of the risks. If my client is not agree to use BIM, then it's no use of doing BIM. And normally client and contractor was not agreeing to use BIM was the legal obligation of it. It was not part of like a contract. They were too unsettled. But now we are this industry is developing also to make it a part of contracts and as well, so that they has a legal responsibility as well. Then next risk comes is the organizational issues. Right, there are I have seen people, they are experienced, they are like they are very experienced, they are rigid to change, they don't want to learn new things, right? They want to stay in their comfortable zone, and okay, they are good with CAD, they want to stay with CAD. So you need to convince your organization staff as well to be ready for the changes, to learn new things, right? If they are not willing to learn new things, then you cannot teach them, and it will be a risk. And a third thing is cost, right? Because you need to invest in there are like some upfront cost involved in implementing them, right? You need to buy some hardwares, you need to buy softwares, you need to provide training to your staff. That required cost, right? So you should have a company or organization or group should know it, whatever they're investing. And if they know return of investment is there, right? They know, and the client know wants BIM, then it is a good idea, right? Otherwise, it is always a risk. If you don't get a project after this training, if you don't get any project where you can use BIM, it will feel like it is waste of money. So that's why before going to the return of investment, ROI should be always assessed. And the one risk is interoperability. When you work with the different partners, like MEP consultant is different, architect is different. They can use different software for the same project. And then some projects, some softwares have interoperability capability, some of them don't have. Then it becomes a challenge, it becomes a risk, right? The information exchange is not that smooth, so it becomes a risk as well. And last and the important one is the security of information. There are projects which are like confidential projects, which are where security security of information is a big concern. So that can also be a risk there, because most of the information related to BIM is on the cloud. So for the security of information is also a risk. And the last one, these are like these are the softwares which are being used at different stages of the project and different purposes. And most of the softwares have interoperability between each other. Like Shobit told you in the in previous presentation, there was IFC. Through IFC, they have interoperability as well. So some of them you must have heard about. Oculus VR, it is used for augmented reality. BIM 360, ASite, these are for common data environment. Revit, EcoSim, These are modeling softwares, like Synchros 4D planning, Robot for Autodesk is from for structural analysis, Bentley RAM for structural analysis, Taos thermal analysis, class reduction. Everybody knows Navisworks is being used. Solibri can also be used, right? And there are a lot of softwares after handover. There are a lot of softwares which are used by asset management. They are called CAFM, computer aided facility management softwares. So those information through COBie schemas get transferred to them, and they can use that information very well. So that's all, guys, from my side for today. And I would like to hear if you want to say anything, and if you have any question, just shoot them. I will try to answer.
Okay. One more thing I want to tell that in comment box we have given our WhatsApp group link. Okay, if you want to connect with us, so you can join that WhatsApp group. And right now we have done 2 sessions for BIM introduction. So in next session we'll choose a specific point and then we'll discuss that point.
Right, and if somebody has anything specific, they can also suggest. We can prepare a topic on that as well.
Sorry.
Hello.
This is Ranjan. Hello.
Hi Ranjan.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question. Actually,
Yeah.
for BIM level 2, we know that we use pass 1192 to part 2 and pass 1192 part 3, part 4 and part 5 as well. So
Yeah.
for international standards, yeah. So which part is applicable for BIM level part 2? BIM level
No,
2.
for
Sorry.
for now, for international standards, they have published only
Part 1 and
196
part 2.
part 2,
Yeah.
which is replacing pass 2 and pass 1192 part 2 and 3. So for rest of the standards, they are still in progress. So for now, what is happening? Either you can use pass 1192 part 2 and 3, or you can use ISO 19650 1 and 2.
Yes,
Right? And
but
for
it's
rest,
all depends on the contract, you know. If
yeah, it
company
depends
wants
on.
to use the ISO standards or BT standards, so it
Yeah,
depends on the
yeah.
contract.
But for the part 4 and 5, 5 is, I guess, security, and 4 is this COBie thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
this for this you can use still you can use pass.
And also you have shown a graph from I think pass 1192 part 2
Yes.
for the life cycle, building life cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there we can see there is like from EIR to BIM execution plan, there is a process, you know, that we company prepare the EIR and the design company prepare their response or BIM execution plan
Yeah.
against the EIR. Okay.
Right.
So in terms of the reverse stage, yeah. So
Yeah.
where the reverse stage enters in the process?
See if you see this when a client comes to architect or somebody, he asks, so that is stage 0 when we discuss this strategy, right?
Yeah.
So at that time there is there is a documentation called what is AIR, Asset Information Requirement, or OIR, Organizational Information Requirement, right?
Yeah.
Based
Yeah.
on that, this EIR is being done. So these are the process which you're seeing outside, right?
Yeah. Before
This goes
our
together.
before on the project. Yeah.
Yeah. So EIR is the
Main legal
which document which client provides to the all the potential stakeholders said, okay, this is my requirement. Based on that, I need your proposals, right?
Yeah.
So that is stage 0, where all the stakeholders, like potential stakeholders, give their execution plan, which they call BIM execution plan, pre-contract, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Pre-contract.
Yeah, that's stage 1, brief and this thing,
All right. Okay.
right? So preparation of
Hello?
brief. When you say preparation
Hello?
of brief,
Yeah, yes, brother.
Yeah, my name is Devanik. Actually, I wanted to ask a question. Like
Yes.
in the previous slides, you said that there are some problems of beam implementing in India. So I just wanted to ask that I don't know if it was there in the slide. I wanted to ask that since I used to work in a developer company and I have faced this issue. We hired a beam consultancy company, but the problem was uh, at construction stage there used to be changes in design.
yeah,
So
it's
that is a very big problematic thing. I don't know if it happens in abroad, but it happened in India and it was a very big problematic thing because the beam consultants were very I don't know, very disturbed about the thing that we have to do this whole process again, because a simple design change causes a lot of problem because they have to create the model again, right? So
actually
how
this
to mitigate that?
yeah
This is a journal situation we all face. Most
no
of the
actually
almost.
no, in an ideal situation this should not happen, right? But
Okay.
changes are part of the project, right? You cannot
See,
avoid that,
like,
you cannot avoid
yes.
that. But this because if you start doing BIM from the stage 0, right, there are levels
Hmm.
where you can start, right? You can start at level 0, you can start at concept design, you can start at time of coordination as well, right? So
Right.
as earlier as you will start doing BIM on your project, you will have more benefits, right? If you start doing your BIM at the stage of spatial coordination, because things are already, a lot of things are already defined there, right? Concept design is done, a lot of things are already defined. So what will happen at this time of spatial coordination, when you start coordinating between the disciplines, the more changes will come, and some of the changes will be like unavoidable. You will have to make big changes of them, then it will create a big problem, right? So
I'll
what is said about BIM is, as earlier you will start doing BIM, it will be more beneficial.
One more thing I want to add, like if we talk about stage 0,
Yeah,
so what happened that it's 90, I mean only 10% surety about the design. Okay, when it pass the first stage, then it goes to second stage or first stage,
yeah,
then it has a 20% of probability that it is going to be in second stage or it might be cancelled. Okay, when it goes to concept stage, it becomes a 50% of chance that the design what we are seeing, it will be final. Okay, but why it is, because when we do all the design stage, we'll find lots of issues and we'll resolve them, right? If we'll resolve them, these concept stage, preparation stage, and then the special coordination stage, then definitely when we'll go to the technical design fourth stage, so the probability of the change is only 10%. Okay, that
Okay.
during this fourth stage, only the 10% of thing might change because of specification or because of small requirement or availability of material or anything. So when we pass the technical stage, after that we move to the fifth stage. So it's a freeze stage. We cannot change anything in fifth stage unless if there is any type of equipment change. like
See,
earlier
see,
we are
client
using
is
specific some different type of tabs, and now we are using different type of tab. That type of thing might be changed in manufacturing and construction stage, but other than that we are not going to change. So like why we do change to make a design better during the construction stage. So if we are not following these 1 0 1 2 3 4 stages, and we directly want that BIM model to be done in 50 stage, okay, then what will happen, we'll find lots of clash, lots of different type of issue in our
Yes,
model, okay.
and
And
that
then
should be
what, yeah, then what happened that it's 100% risk that we have wasted all the advantage of 1 2 3 4 stages.
and
So
that
that
should
is
be
what,
mentioned in BIM execution plan, I guess. Which
yes,
stage? Yeah.
yeah, you are right. See what happened in India, most of the client they uh, use BIM only for clash detection and the final cost estimation. They don't care about the concept design. They don't, because they think that it might take more cost, right? It is costly than the traditional 2D drawings, but it is not fact. They are not taking full advantage of the BIM concept.
Yeah.
Correct.
Why? And there's one another issue, because in India it's not mandatory. Even we
Right.
don't
That
in
that is the
India,
problem.
yeah, yeah, in India we don't go to the sixth stage and fifth stage. Even in most of the construction industry, we don't go to sixth stage and seventh stage, because most of the companies they are doing the BIM only for their construction and drawing presentation purpose. Okay,
maybe
because
sometimes only for visualization to
yes,
see how it will look
yes.
like.
So like we are doing the project, so we have a uh, the main object of the BIM model is 6 stages: handover, operational, and management. So that's why the owner or the agencies they start uh, BIM from the first or second stage.
Right. That's is a right time to start.
As early as we'll
Hello,
start. Yes, yes, please.
sir. I'm Sandeep, sir. As per, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, as per view research diagram, there is 4 levels. Hello,
Hello. Yeah.
Yes.
and according to Riva, there is a 7 8 stage.
Yeah.
So, how those two things are uh, um, how those things are interrelated each other?
Okay. Can we go to the page, the slide?
Which one?
Uh,
This
the,
one?
the, the, yes, this one. Right?
Yes, actually, said this one is not clear due to some problem.
Okay. You cannot check. Okay. So here also the same. We have same stages.
Oh, what was the first one? 4 stages according to what?
According to view research diagram.
Future diagram. That's not included there. Actually, these institutes, I'm not aware of these 4 stages which you are mentioning. Can you
So,
explain what are those 4 stages?
so actually, the 4 stages are first one is level 1 and level 2, level 3, and level 4. That is
Oh,
for level 0. That is only CAD, not managed CAD
okay, okay,
are
okay. Yeah,
used.
okay. Actually, that is the stage of our industry, how we are growing. Like in
Yes,
stage 0, we was before 0, or we can say 0, we was using only the hand sketch drawings. Okay,
yeah,
so that
yes,
when that diagram made, it is so what they defined that before 0 we were doing all the hand sketch drawing. In 0 we are making only the 2D drawings, And the in level 1, the most of the companies, they have started with the 2D and individual 3D model. Individual 3D model like architect is making 3D model. The purpose
Yes.
either taking drawing or either other for visualization purpose. But structure and mechanical, they are not doing any BIM modeling. Okay. Then in stage 2, level 2, see, its
Yes.
stage is different. The stage is design stages, and the level
Yes.
is BIM implementation levels. Okay. So in level 2,
Actually,
in
Shobita,
level
let me
2,
correct you a bit.
right?
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, the view richer diagrams is not the process. It's which level of beam you are adopting.
Yes, BIM
Yeah.
Oh,
maturity level. It
Yes.
is not for design stages.
okay.
So like
It is
after
for
3 years.
maturity level.
Yes, it's more maturity level. Like if there's any company who is doing only 2D CAD work, so they are on level 1 or level
Yes.
0,
Yes.
right? So the company who is
Oh,
using the 3D model or BIM model only for the individual purpose, they are on level 1, right? The company or the project who is doing multidisciplinary projects in BIM, like architect, structure, mechanical, and electrical, all other parties they are using. So they are
yeah.
working on BIM level 2, right? And BIM
Yes.
level
Yes.
3 is in BIM level 3, the that most of the use of IFC and how we can export data to the other operational management tools, and how we can use that BIM, iTwins and all these latest technologies.
This is actually beam level 3 is integrated beam.
Yeah,
Integrated BIM model.
integrated, right.
Yeah, there will be no paper drawing that will be there. Everything will be on the digital platform.
Digital platform.
Yeah.
But like in India, most of the companies are on level 1, and some of are doing are doing BIM level 2.
Beam level 2 for India project or for the outside project.
Maybe some of the Indian project, like where the in Noida there is one Supertech Nova building. They
Okay.
use
They're using beam
BIM
level
level
2.
2. Yes,
Yeah.
they are using BIM level 2, and but it's depend upon the client,
Yeah,
because
obviously, because it's
they have to pay
possibility. Yeah.
money, right?
Yeah.
Sir, I have one another confusion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, there we know there is 7Ds in BIM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how those Ds are interrelated, or how we are differentiate those 7Ds with related to level and as well as stage.
Uh, See, when you 3D, you know it, right?
Yes.
Up to 3D, you know it.
See,
Yes. Yes.
When we
one
see
one
when we say 4D, 4D means you
Hmm.
add one more
4D means
for one more
timing
dimension to it. This is time, right?
time.
So right, and the time is required planning, right? Planning is required
Yes.
at what stage?
construction.
Construction, before construction stage, right?
Construction.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes.
before construction. I mean, yeah,
So
after design and
it
before.
is like around technical design. It should be done 4D, right?
Yeah. So
Then you can
7D
plan.
actually the 7D actually the operation management, which
Yes.
belongs to level 3. If you see the view Richard
No,
diagram,
no,
it's
no.
not, you not compare. You cannot compare, but
No, no. Wait. Levels are different.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Stages are different, and these LOD are different,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
these D dimensions, Ds
Huh.
are different. So if you talk about level 2, so in level 2, the company can even use BIM level 2. It's only 2D or 3D or 4D, right?
Yeah,
But
in level 2 they can use, but if you see the view Richard diagram, yeah. So as
yeah,
per the view Richard diagram, all everything like operation stage and everything, the management comes in integrated
level
beam, which is belongs to level 3.
three,
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a different. You cannot say that the stages, that is capability or the technology what we used for BIM or the that project process.
Yeah, correct.
So that
Yes.
is different, and it's depend upon the capacity of requirement, first requirement of owner, that what he require. Maybe they, if there is no benefit if we'll give uh, 4D or 5D and 6D to client, right? Because they are not going to utilize, then why we should waste money and time and
Then,
information, right?
yeah.
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes.
it's depend upon that one. Sometime what
Oh,
happened that for 4D they also want the 4D in first stage 2, 3 and 4, so that they can plan better and check the is there any feasibility, or what type is there any challenge between inside of that during the construction or not. So we cannot say that for this purpose the 4D is limited. Same for 5D. 5D is for cost estimation, right?
cost.
So
Yes.
yes, so for cost, that after any suppose they have finished stage 3, after that then we have to do the 5D, 4D and 5D, so that the client can get the approximate cost of that project. Okay, so
Okay.
it's not limited for any stage or any level. It's depend that what client want as per their EIR.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay. So
Because
thank you,
this
sir.
all process should be mentioned in EIR actually.
Yes, all should, yeah,
Yes.
because see, if in EIR they have defined so many things, and uh, like they want 6D or not, right? They what their motto for the project, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yes, yes.
so as per that we to align that requirement we prepare the BEP, build BIM execution plan.
Mm,
Okay, and
being
when
yes.
we present our BP to the client, then he verified, see that the whatever we have described in our BP, is it aligned with their EIR or not, right? So
Okay.
one more thing, that EIR is a contractual document, and
Actually, Shobit,
No,
it's not a
it's not a
contractual document. It's
contractual.
not part of the
Yeah,
document.
Contract.
it's a design unit. You can say the client submit the EIR documents. Yeah,
Yeah.
for like uh, the design fundamental or BIM fundamentals, you can say. Then the
yeah,
consultant company or designing company bidding or prepare their documents against the EIR, and
yes,
they will submit their documents for
Yeah,
bidding.
BIM
yes,
execution
yes,
plan, which is while submitting their quotation, which is called pre-contract BIM execution plan, which is submitted with the proposal, but it's
yes.
not a contractual document. When
No, but like if the after stage, after the contract, the client has upgraded their or they have added some new clause in EIR, right? So they can,
Yes.
contractor can ask more money for that changes.
uh, could be, but normally these EIR and BIM execution plan, these are the documents which keep developing during this stages of
Yes,
the project, right?
yes,
So it can, for these documents are not contractually obliged, right? For now, to be part to make these BIM things part of the legal contract, it is now BIM protocols, or there is
BIM
CPIX
protocols
documents.
or yeah, or
yes,
CIC BIM protocols also use.
Yeah,
yes. There's
CPIX BIM protocols, you can create them as a contractual document. Nowadays, companies are doing, they are adding one appendix as BIM protocols to be part of contract in case of legal things.
okay. Someone asked one question, that which software is the best for technical design. It, it's a very the normal question everybody asks, which application is best or whatever. It's depend upon your requirement. Like as I have experience in even with the Revit. So Revit is especially for specialist for buildings and some other tasks. And if you have any big industrial project or big size of project, so if you will model or use Revit, then it might create some problems. So for that, you can go with the other tools like EcoSim or Civil 3D or other applications.
Now, Civil 3D is not a completely BIM software.
Yeah.
It can be used with other softwares. It is an Autodesk software. So with the Autodesk suite, Autodesk group of softwares, you can use Civil 3D as well for mostly for linear projects. Linear projects means the infrastructure projects
Infrastructure.
where ground have a role to play, right? Or
So,
big maritime ports as well. You can use them.
Like
it's
I'm
a
doing
Civil
here
3D is generally used for highway and railway projects,
Yeah, that's
highway,
what I was
railway,
saying.
and
The
yes.
linear projects, which are
linear project.
very long in the run. But Civil 3D can do everything. It has only most of the things which are related to the ground. You can make ground profiles. You can calculate the excavation and the other things and this kind of thing. You can create some structure there, infrastructure, but I'm not sure how good is this information thing said. I haven't used it much, but it's the things which it does. It's good.
So we have given here our WhatsApp group, so you can add in you can join our group, and next week we'll then from Monday we'll plan next week webinar. Okay, and then we
Yeah, we'll
can
share information what's coming next.
So when you are going to create again the meetings, is it not possible on Saturday?
yeah, it is what
It's Saturday.
today is Saturday, bro.
Yeah, today is Saturday. I mean the next one.
Yeah, next Saturday we'll do every
Every
Saturday,
Saturday.
not in
Uh,
Sunday. We'll do every Saturday, and the time is same. Why? Because the Rahul is from UAE, so if the person who is from UAE, they can also join, and the person who is from India, that afternoon time is good for them. And like
yeah.
me or other anyone, if they are joining from Singapore, Australia, or this Asian region, they can also join because it's
Yeah. All right.
okay.
So
So that is why
thank you,
we
sir.